These 2 hours, the presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
For years, people all over the world have wondered about what really happened to Princess Diana. Her sudden and tragic death left so many questions, but one thing remained the same. Her family stayed quiet. They never spoke much about it, never shared their deepest thoughts, never told the world what they truly felt. But now, after all this time, that silence is finally broken. Diana's brother and sister are speaking up. They are sharing things they have never said before, things that might change everything we thought we knew. What really happened? How did they feel when they lost her? And why have they waited so long to talk? The truth is finally coming out, and it might be more shocking than anyone ever expected. Why have they stayed silent for so long? For more than 2 decades, the world has asked the same question. Why haven't Princess Diana's siblings spoken openly about her tragic death? Why did they choose to remain silent while the media, the royal family, and conspiracy theorists debated what really happened on that fateful night? The truth is, their silence wasn't just a choice, it was a necessity. Losing Diana wasn't just about losing a public figure. For Charles Spencer and Sarah McCorquodale, it was about losing their beloved sister in the most painful, heartbreaking way possible. Their silence came from deep personal grief, fear of repercussions, and the need to protect themselves and their family from powerful forces at play. The Spencer family's private nature. Unlike the royal family, who live their lives under constant media scrutiny, the Spencers have always valued their privacy. Before Diana married Prince Charles, she and her siblings lived relatively normal lives, away from cameras and headlines. Even after she became the most photographed woman in the world, her family remained in the background, never seeking attention. When Diana passed away, their need for privacy only grew stronger. They weren't public figures. They weren't politicians. They were just a grieving family trying to make sense of an unimaginable loss. They didn't want to be part of the media circus that followed Diana's death. They didn't want to be interviewed, analyzed, or have their words twisted by tabloids looking for the next big headline. Instead, they mourned in silence. While the world cried over Diana's passing, Charles and Sarah had to bury their sister and deal with the pain that never truly faded. Imagine losing someone you love in the most tragic way possible. Now imagine that loss being played out on every TV screen, every newspaper, and every magazine cover for years. That was the reality for Diana's siblings. Grief is a personal journey, and everyone deals with it in their own way. For Charles and Sarah, talking about Diana meant reopening a wound that never really healed. It meant reliving the pain of losing her all over again. Every time they spoke about her, it wasn't just words. It was memories, heartbreak, and emotions that they had tried so hard to manage. And it wasn't just the loss itself. It was the way Diana died, the horror of the car crash, the images of paparazzi swarming her wrecked car, the relentless news coverage dissecting every second of her final moments. It was overwhelming. It was inescapable. And for Charles and Sarah, it was just too much to bear. Fear of backlash from the royal family and media. It's no secret that the royal family is one of the most powerful institutions in the world. Speaking out against them is not something people do lightly. Charles Spencer made it clear in his emotional eulogy at Diana's funeral that he believed the royals and the media had failed his sister. But pushing further, that would have been dangerous. Diana was known for her honesty, and she paid a heavy price for it. Every time she spoke out, the media twisted her words. The royal family distanced themselves from her. She became isolated, and in many ways that isolation led to her tragic fate. Charles and Sarah saw what happened to her. They saw how speaking the truth could make someone a target, and they weren't willing to take that risk. Previous legal and media threats. Many believed that Charles and Sarah's silence wasn't just their choice, it was enforced. Over the years, there have been rumors that legal threats, confidential agreements, and media pressure kept them from speaking out. There are stories of journalists being silenced, of investigations being shut down, and of people close to Diana being warned to keep quiet. If this is true, then it's no surprise that her own siblings chose to stay out of the spotlight. The royal family, the government, and powerful media organizations all had something to lose if the real truth about Diana's death came out. And maybe, Charles and Sarah knew that speaking up could put them in danger. After years of silence, Diana's siblings have finally started to speak up. And their words are bringing new insights into her death, her struggles, and the forces that may have been working against her.
And every day people tell me what an inspiration she was, how much they miss her, what they did the day she died. It's extraordinary.
Charles Spencer's recent comments. Charles Spencer has spoken about his biggest regret, not being able to protect his sister from the relentless media. He has expressed guilt over the fact that he couldn't shield her from the people who, in his view, ultimately led to her tragic end. He has also pointed the finger at the paparazzi, blaming them for the car chase that resulted in Diana's death. He believes that the photographers who hounded her that night in Paris played a major role in the crash and should have been held accountable. And then there's the royal family. Charles has suggested that Diana was not given the protection she needed. He has questioned why she was left so vulnerable, without the security she deserved. Was she abandoned? Was she set up? These are questions that many people, including Diana's own brother, continue to ask. Sarah McCorquodale's perspective. Sarah McCorquodale, Diana's older sister, has shared her personal memories of Diana's struggles. She has spoken about the pain Diana endured behind closed doors, the pressure she felt within the royal family, and the moments when she felt completely alone. Diana often confided in Sarah. She told her about her fears, her struggles, and her unhappiness in her marriage. She shared her worries about being followed, watched, and manipulated. And now, years later, Sarah is confirming what many have suspected. Diana knew something wasn't right. She feared for her safety long before that fatal night in Paris. As for the conspiracy theories, Sarah has said that there are still unanswered questions. She hasn't confirmed or denied any specific theories, but she has admitted that something about Diana's death just doesn't feel right. Diana, Dodi Fayed, and their driver, Henri Paul, left the Ritz Hotel in Paris. Paparazzi chased them. The car sped into a tunnel. Moments later, it crashed. Diana was still alive when emergency services arrived, but her injuries were severe. She was rushed to the hospital, but after hours of surgery, she was pronounced dead. The official investigation and inquest findings. The official investigation ruled it an accident. Henri Paul was found to have been drinking, and authorities blamed his reckless driving for the crash. The paparazzi were cleared of criminal responsibility. Case closed. Or was it? Many believe Diana's death wasn't an accident. Some think the royal family wanted her gone. Others believe it was a secret government operation. Even Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, has claimed that the crash was a planned assassination. While they haven't fully supported the conspiracy theories, they haven't denied them either. Their recent comments suggest they still have doubts. They believe Diana was mistreated, left unprotected, and possibly even targeted. Their words don't completely contradict the official reports, but they do raise an important point. If Diana's own family still has questions, then maybe the full truth hasn't been revealed. One thing is certain: Diana's death remains one of the greatest tragedies in modern history. And now, with her siblings finally speaking out, the search for answers is far from over. As more details continue to surface, the world is still watching, still listening, and still searching for answers. Make sure to stay updated as this story unfolds.
And I have been so deeply moved and humbled by their truly remarkable courage and by their selfless capacity for forgiveness, despite all that they have suffered.
King Charles can finally share what happened is sure to make jaws drop. For decades, rumors and whispers surrounded the real story behind Charles and Diana's marriage, leaving fans with burning questions. Now, after years of regret and hidden truth, Charles is ready to spill the details that could change everything we thought we knew. From unexpected revelations to shocking confessions, nothing remains off limits in this tell-all.
And I also wanted to say how particularly moved and enormously comforted my children and I were, and indeed still are, by the public response to Diana's death.
Are you ready to hear the scandal that could rewrite entire royal history? Early spotlight. on King Charles. From the moment he was born on November 14, 1948, King Charles lived in the public eye like few others. Being the first child of Queen Elizabeth II placed him in line for the British throne at just a few years old. As soon as his mother succeeded to the throne in 1952, Charles's every move became news. Journalists and photographers followed him constantly, capturing everything from his first steps to his school outings. This early attention brought both excitement and hardship. On one hand, Charles enjoyed privileges such as living in grand palaces and traveling around the world with his parents. On the other hand, the weight of future responsibility cast a long shadow. He could not simply play outside without a chaperone, or make casual friends without those friendships ending up in the papers. Knowing that he would eventually become king brought an expectation of perfect behavior and never-ending etiquette lessons. As a child, Charles took part in public events that most people never experience. He had to attend formal ceremonies, greet dignitaries, and smile for countless photographs. His parents were often busy with their own duties, so he sometimes felt distant from them. This early exposure to royal life taught him that leadership is more than just ribbon-cutting and waving. It involves representing an entire nation and keeping up an image of respect and tradition. Yet Charles remained a curious young boy, eager to learn. He loved the outdoors, playing sports and exploring nature whenever possible. Despite all the ceremony around him, he tried to embrace any normal childhood moment he could find. This dual existence, being both a young heir and a child wanting freedom, shaped his perspective on duty and personal happiness. Over the years, the world watched him grow, picking apart every detail of his upbringing, from his choice of school to his friendships. While the spotlight was harsh, it also formed him into the resolute individual he would become. He learned to handle media pressure, stand by his values, and balance tradition with personal growth. Those early years in the public eye laid the groundwork for his eventual role as Britain's monarch. Challenging childhood. Although King Charles was born into privilege, his childhood was far from easy. In public, he seemed to have it all: a royal title, a future throne, and enrollment in prestigious schools. But behind the castle walls, he faced emotional hurdles that shaped who he is today. He often spoke of feeling somewhat isolated, since his parents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, had demanding schedules and many official duties. As a result, they were often away, leaving young Charles under the care of nannies and tutors. He once admitted that his parents could be both physically and emotionally distant. Growing up under such circumstances, he struggled to find genuine warmth and affection. Many times his reserved nature was misunderstood as aloofness, but it stemmed from a lack of open, playful interaction within his family. Like any sensitive child, he longed for approval and closeness. Additionally, constant media attention made it hard for him to form normal friendships. Classmates sometimes teased him, either because of his royal status or his gentle nature. While many assumed being a prince meant an easy life, it actually invited extra scrutiny. Every quirk or emotion he showed sparked feedback from both peers and the wider public. This pressure taught him to shield his feelings, shaping the more guarded side of his personality that people would later observe. However, these hardships also contributed to his ability to empathize with others, since he knew how it felt to be lonely and misunderstood. Charles developed a softer side. In time, he became known for his desire to protect the environment and uplift charitable causes. There is a belief that his early emotional battles gave him a strong sense of compassion for the struggles of everyday people. Overcoming a challenging childhood was no small feat. Charles had to navigate formal expectations, media glare, and his own yearning for unconditional love. These factors fueled both his insecurities and his determination to do well by his future subjects. In many ways, his youthful trials served as stepping stones toward a more empathetic approach to leadership, highlighting how even a prince can grow through adversity. Gordonstoun School experience. Gordonstoun School became a defining chapter of King Charles's youth. Founded by German educator Kurt Hahn, the school was known for its strict discipline, outdoor challenges, and emphasis on self-reliance. Prince Philip, Charles's father, believed that Gordonstoun would make his son tougher, more independent, and ready for the demands of royal life. Though the school was among the most respected in the United Kingdom, it was also notorious for its rigorous routines. For young Charles, the transition was tough. He was a sensitive boy, more inclined toward quiet reflection than braving cold mornings and adventure drills. At Gordonstown, students were expected to wake up early to take cold showers, keep their dormitories spotless, and participate in various sports. The school highlighted character growth through hardship, a principle that clashed with Charles's gentle manner. He found the days exhausting and sometimes felt overwhelmed by the physical demands and the teasing he faced from classmates. Still, he would later admit that his time at Gordonstown shaped his resilience and helped him discover inner strengths. He learned how to handle criticism, adapt to unfamiliar settings, and rely on himself in challenging situations. In a 1975 interview, he reflected that the school taught him much about his own abilities, hinting that the difficulties sparked personal growth. He also said that his father's insistence on sending him there, though harsh at times, forced him to confront the real world in ways a pampered prince rarely would. Beyond discipline, Gordonstown offered Charles opportunities in leadership. The school believed in giving senior students responsibility to oversee younger ones, which helped Charles practice guiding and supporting peers. He also found moments to appreciate nature, exploring the rugged landscape surrounding the campus. That closeness with nature might have nurtured his lifelong advocacy for environmental causes. Despite the strictness, he later expressed gratitude for his Gordonstown experience. While he often joked that his father's choice of school was a harsh move for someone so sensitive, he ultimately acknowledged its benefits. By enduring trials of physical endurance, structure, and teamwork, Charles discovered personal qualities that would serve him well as he prepared for the responsibilities of a future king. University education king. Charles's choice to attend university was a defining moment that broke royal tradition and sparked debate within the British royal family. Typically, heirs to the throne were expected to enter military service straight after their formal schooling. However, Charles had other plans. After completing his A-levels at Gordonstown, he announced his intent to pursue a degree at the University of Cambridge. Many in the royal circle were uneasy about this decision, fearing it might reflect poorly on him as a future monarch. Critics claimed it showed a lack of discipline and a desire to dodge the rigors of military life. Yet Charles stood firm, determined to prove that scholarship and service could go hand in hand. Despite the stir it caused, his time at Cambridge became an invaluable experience. He studied anthropology, archaeology, and history, eventually earning a second-class lower Bachelor of Arts, an achievement that made him the first British heir apparent to receive a university degree. During his studies, the media kept a close watch on his every move. Reports of Charles strolling through campus with classmates or attending social events always made headlines, reflecting a public keenly curious about how he would balance academic pursuits with his royal obligations. For Charles, this period was about more than attending lectures and writing essays. It allowed him a taste of relative independence, a chance to mingle with fellow students and immerse himself in intellectual debate. He engaged in discussions ranging from historical events to global challenges, broadening his cultural awareness. This exposure seemed to strengthen his worldview and shape his future philanthropic interests. In particular, experiencing life beyond palace walls helped him understand ordinary people's struggles, an understanding that would later influence his passion for charitable causes. Still, not everyone was so accepting of his academic adventure. Some family members felt that time spent away from official duties hindered his readiness for the crown. Yet, Charles's resolve only grew stronger in the face of doubt. Even as tension brewed within the royal household, he persisted, focusing on exams and forming friendships that would last for years. Military career. After earning his university degree, King Charles turned his attention to the military, a path many had expected him to follow from the start. Criticism had built up when he initially postponed his service, with voices suggesting he feared the harsh environment. Yet Charles was determined to prove otherwise. Early in his second year at Cambridge, he requested Royal Air Force training, surprising both the public and members of his family. This move signaled his readiness to take on physically and mentally demanding challenges. Charles began his preparatory instruction by studying a range of technical subjects, including aerodynamics, navigation, and aviation medicine. According to Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Johns, who oversaw parts of Charles's training, The young man displayed remarkable concentration and a fierce determination to excel. While critics still questioned whether a sensitive prince could handle strict discipline, Charles's instructors saw a different side, a focused student who refused to fail. His military journey didn't end with the RAF. Charles soon embarked on a career in the Royal Navy, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. He took an accelerated course at Britannia Royal Naval College, quickly adjusting to life on ships, destroyers, and frigates. Over time, he served as a gunnery officer on the HMS Minerva and took on responsibilities that tested both his leadership and technical skills. His active involvement in real operations, such as monitoring a Soviet submarine, showcased his calm under pressure and willingness to adapt to life at sea. One highlight of Charles's service was his development as a pilot. He spent countless hours in the cockpit, perfecting maneuvers and formation flying. His dedication paid off when he earned the Double Diamond Trophy, marking him as one of the top pilots in his class. Eventually, Charles advanced to commanding officer of the minesweeper HMS Brownington, where he led a small crew through routine exercises and real missions involving leftover World War II ordnance. By December 1976, he concluded his active military career with the rank of commander. Though some once doubted his ability to withstand rigorous training, he left with a record that spoke volumes about his commitment and skill. In many ways, his time in uniform demonstrated that a future monarch could balance tradition with personal ambition, all while earning the respect of both royal and military circles. It was one more stepping stone on a journey that would soon lead him to a deeply complex chapter of life. Meeting Princess Diana. Meeting Princess Diana. The story of King Charles meeting Princess Diana often leads to mention of a shooting party hosted by Diana's older sister, Sarah. But according to Charles himself, their very first meeting happened in a less glamorous setting, a freshly plowed field. In that moment, Diana was a shy 16-year-old, while Charles was in his late 20s, dating Sarah. Despite the age gap and the prince's existing relationship, Diana captured Charles's attention. He was charmed by her youthful spirit and unique warmth, but with his eyes fixed on Sarah at the time, he barely acted on those feelings. Not long after, Charles joined Sarah for a ski trip, and their blossoming relationship was widely documented by the media, who celebrated them as a potential match. Behind the scenes, though, something else was happening. During a gathering at Sarah's invitation, Charles and Diana ended up talking in private. She led him on a brief tour of her home's gallery, and he found her kindness and energy irresistible, even if he couldn't publicly show it. Meanwhile, Diana was flattered by the prince's genuine interest. Yet the situation was far from simple. Sarah was still very much in the picture. In a surprising twist, Sarah herself ended up ending the relationship with Charles. She gave a frank interview to a magazine, boldly stating she was not in love with him, nor had any intention of marrying into the royal family. The public was stunned, considering how they had seemed happy together during their ski outings. Within months, Sarah married someone else, causing the media to pivot and focus on the evolving connection between Charles and Diana. With Sarah now out of the equation, Charles felt freer to pursue the younger sister who had captivated him from that first encounter. Still, there were unavoidable concerns about their 12-year age difference and Diana's limited experience with the public eye. Undeterred, they began seeing more of each other. The royal family, always conscious of appearances, kept a close watch on their dates, intrigued by the possibility that Diana might be a suitable bride for the future king. Marriage to Diana. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was hailed as the event of the century, a dazzling ceremony watched by hundreds of millions worldwide. From the outside, it looked like the ultimate fairy tale. Royal pomp, horse-drawn carriages, and a stunning bride adored by onlookers everywhere she went. Yet beneath the grand displays of love and pageantry, trouble brewed. Diana, who was only 20 when she wed the future king, soon found that royal life was far more complex than she had imagined. One early warning sign came during their engagement interview. When asked if they were in love, Diana confidently said yes, but Charles replied, "Whatever in love means." His awkward response drew public concern, and privately, Diana admitted that it hurt. Troubles mounted further during their engagement when she discovered Charles had purchased a gift for his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. Though Diana considered calling off the wedding, she pressed on, buoyed by her sister's support, but harboring deep fears about Charles's loyalty. Their wedding day remained a spectacle of joy, at least to the millions watching on television. Behind the scenes, however, cracks formed in the marriage almost immediately. Diana struggled with the relentless scrutiny of the press and the expectations placed on her as a royal wife. Charles, meanwhile, did little to hide his lingering attachment to Camilla, fueling Diana's worries and later her heartbreak. Over time, the emotional strain took a visible toll. Diana spoke openly about her feelings of inadequacy, and Charles, unsure how to handle her distress, seemed to drift further away. Eventually, the rumors of Charles's ongoing affair became impossible to ignore. Diana confronted Camilla directly, pleading for her to leave Charles alone. When that failed, the tension boiled over, leaving Diana feeling more isolated than ever. The media, hungry for drama, devoured every hint of conflict. The final blow arrived when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked to the press, exposing the true extent of their relationship. Faced with a scandal that rocked the monarchy, Charles publicly admitted the affair. A deeply wounded Diana, in turn, shared her side in televised interviews, famously remarking that, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." In 1992, they formally separated, finalizing their divorce in 1996. What began as a fairy tale had become a cautionary story of love, betrayal, and public intrusion, forever shaping how the world viewed the House of Windsor and the couple at its center: infidelity and marital troubles. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was once the world's favorite fairy tale, but underlying tensions and hidden affections soon cast a shadow over their union. Early on, Diana sensed Charles's lingering fondness for his former flame, Camilla Parker Bowles. Although Diana hoped that marriage and motherhood would draw Charles closer, those dreams gradually faded as Camilla remained in the picture. Hurt and confused, Diana confronted Charles about the gift he had bought Camilla shortly before their wedding, an omen that her new life might not be a peaceful one. Taking on royal duties brought more public attention, leaving little room for private resolutions. Diana tried to hold her marriage together despite feeling increasingly overshadowed by Camilla's presence. Pleas and direct confrontations proved fruitless. Charles, meanwhile, seemed torn between his sense of duty to Diana and his emotional history with Camilla. Eventually, their marital strains spilled over into media reports, fueling endless tabloid gossip. Every time Diana appeared at a public event looking downcast or teary-eyed, the press speculated about Charles's behavior and the cracks in their relationship. The unsustainable tension came to a head when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked, confirming beyond doubt that the prince had continued his affair. The tapes featured candid exchanges, revealing the depth of their emotional bond. As these calls became front-page news, any hope of salvaging the royal marriage dimmed. In a bid to manage the crisis, Charles sat down for a televised interview where he finally admitted to cheating on Diana. This public confession shattered the prince's carefully managed image of respectability and left Diana feeling betrayed on a global stage. Although the divorce was still months away, the emotional damage was done. Diana's heartbreak and Charles's public mea culpa generated an unending storm of media scrutiny. Many who had idolized Charles for his dedication to royal duty now questioned his character. Some sympathized with Diana, seeing her as a young woman thrust into an unforgiving spotlight and betrayed by her husband's continued closeness to Camilla. Others blamed both sides, arguing that royal life created pressures no marriage could endure. By the time legal separation became official, the couple's relationship had devolved into a series of painful headlines and regretful revelations. What started as a storybook wedding in front of nearly 1 billion onlookers turned into a cautionary tale of unresolved past relationships, public obsession, and the heavy toll of infidelity on even the most glamorous unions. Diana's struggles and legacy. When Diana entered the royal family, many saw her as the embodiment of a real-life Cinderella. A shy young nursery school assistant swept up in a dazzling romance with the future king. Yet almost from the start, she struggled beneath the intense spotlight and the rigid protocols of royal life. Her natural warmth often clashed with the formal reserve expected of a princess, and every misstep drew tabloid headlines. Over time, These pressures took a serious emotional toll, leaving her feeling isolated and unsure of whom to trust. Beyond her marital woes, Diana battled personal insecurities. She spoke candidly about her struggle with bulimia, which she traced directly to the emotional pain and self-doubt she experienced in her relationship with Charles. Whenever she felt anxious about an upcoming event or a perceived rejection, the pressure became unbearable. Her willingness to open up about bulimia shattered royal norms, exposing a frank vulnerability that endeared her to millions who recognized their own battles in her story. Despite these struggles, Diana found her own voice and sense of purpose through humanitarian work. Early on, she displayed a gift for connecting with people from all walks of life. Children facing critical illness, victims of poverty, and those living with HIV/AIDS all found a compassionate ally in Diana, who wasn't afraid to kneel down, embrace them, and show a human touch that broke centuries of royal formality. This empathy became a hallmark of her public persona, earning her the nickname, the People's Princess. Even as her marriage unraveled, Diana's global reputation soared, buoyed by her devotion to charitable causes. She visited hospitals, comforted the sick, and championed controversial topics like landmine clearance. Though her personal life remained fraught with heartbreak, Diana's work on behalf of the marginalized offered a sense of meaning. In telling the world about her own pain, she helped to break stigmas surrounding mental health while using her platform to shine a spotlight on overlooked communities. By the time she and Charles divorced, Diana's place in history had already been secured. Her tragic death in 1997 only cemented her status as a beloved icon whose struggles made her relatable and whose compassion inspired countless others. Today, her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, carry her legacy forward with their own charitable projects and public engagements. Through them and the countless lives she touched, Diana's spirit endures, reminding the world of the power in empathy, vulnerability, and the courage to speak one's truth.
You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone.
For decades, the world believed they knew the truth about Princess Diana's tragic death. A terrible car accident in Paris, caused by a drunk driver and pursuing paparazzi. The People's Princess, taken too soon in a senseless tragedy. But now, a shocking revelation has turned that narrative upside down, leaving the British royal family and the entire world reeling. What could possibly be more devastating than the original tragedy? The truth behind what really happened that fateful night in Paris is more unimaginable than anyone could have suspected. The shocking revelation. On a rainy Tuesday morning in London, crowds gathered outside the Old Bailey, Britain's central criminal court, as rumors swirled about a secret trial that had been conducted behind closed doors. Security was unprecedented, with armed officers creating a perimeter around the building and all electronic devices banned from the proceedings. When the Lord Chief Justice emerged to address the waiting press, his face was ashen. "Today, I must deliver news of such gravity that it will forever alter our understanding of recent British history," he began, his voice wavering slightly. Following a trial conducted with the highest security protocols, evidence has been presented that has led to the conviction of a member of the royal family in connection with the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. The crowd fell silent as the impossible words hung in the air. The justice continued. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, has been found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder in the death of his mother. The sentence is life imprisonment without possibility of parole. The world stood still. How could this possibly be true? Diana's youngest son, who had been just 12 years old when she died, convicted of orchestrating her murder. It defied comprehension. The evidence uncovered. As details emerged in the following days, the story became even more bizarre and disturbing. The case had begun unraveling 3 years earlier, when a former MI6 agent, terminally ill with pancreatic cancer, had come forward with a deathbed confession. He claimed to have knowledge of a long-term operation that had been hidden from all but the highest levels of British intelligence. According to recently declassified documents, The agent had provided investigators with encrypted files that contained surveillance recordings, financial transactions, and communication logs dating back to 1997. Most disturbing were a series of coded messages allegedly sent from a young Harry to unknown operatives in Paris in the weeks before Diana's death. Forensic accountants had traced a series of complex financial transactions through offshore accounts that appeared to link the young prince to payments made to several individuals who were in Paris the night Diana died. Computer experts testified that the encryption used in these communications matched protocols that would have only been known to someone with access to royal security briefings. Perhaps most damning was newly enhanced security footage from the Ritz Hotel in Paris that appeared to show Harry, disguised and wearing a prosthetic facial feature, meeting with Henri Paul, the driver who would later crash the car carrying Diana and Dodi Fayed. Facial recognition experts testified with 99.7% certainty that despite the disguise, the individual was Harry. The impossible timeline. But how could a 12-year-old boy possibly have orchestrated such a complex plot? This question dominated headlines worldwide as royal experts and criminal psychologists attempted to make sense of the conviction. The prosecution's case, portions of which were now being leaked to the press, presented a timeline that seemed impossible. They alleged that Harry, far from being the traumatized child the world had sympathized with, had been a calculating prodigy who harbored deep resentment toward his mother for her relationship with Dodi Fayed and her increasingly independent stance from the royal family. Psychologists brought in by the prosecution painted a picture of a disturbed child who, despite his youth, had access to resources and connections that most adults could never imagine. They claimed he had been diagnosed with a rare condition that accelerated cognitive development while dampening emotional and moral reasoning, essentially creating a child with the intellectual capabilities of an adult, but without fully developed empathy. The defense had vehemently rejected this characterization, bringing their own experts who testified that such a psychological profile was pure fiction, and that the prosecution's timeline was physically impossible. They pointed out that Harry had been at Balmoral Castle in Scotland with his father and brother when Diana died, a fact confirmed by numerous royal staff and security personnel. The royal family's response. As the details of the conviction became public, Buckingham Palace remained in lockdown. King Charles III, Harry's father, had reportedly collapsed upon hearing the verdict and was under medical supervision. Prince William, now heir to the throne, had cancelled all public appearances indefinitely. After 3 days of silence, the palace finally issued a brief statement. The royal family acknowledges the verdict delivered by the court. This is a time of profound shock and grief as we attempt to understand these disturbing allegations. We ask for privacy as we process these events and determine appropriate next steps. No further statements will be made at this time. The statement was notable for what it didn't say. There was no defense of Harry, no questioning of the verdict, no expression of support for the convicted prince. This omission led to immediate speculation that the royal family had prior knowledge of the investigation, or perhaps even believed in Harry's guilt. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who had been in California with the couple's children during the secret trial, was reportedly under protection at an undisclosed location. Sources close to her claimed she was utterly devastated and in complete disbelief, having had no knowledge of the trial until the verdict was announced. Public disbelief and conspiracy theories. The public reaction worldwide was one of stunned disbelief, followed quickly by skepticism. How could such a massive conspiracy have remained hidden for decades? How could a child have orchestrated such a complex plot? And why would Harry have wanted his beloved mother dead? Social media exploded with conspiracy theories, many suggesting that Harry was being framed, perhaps by elements within the royal family or British intelligence, who feared what might be revealed in his upcoming memoir. Others pointed to his recent estrangement from the royal family as potential motivation for a coordinated attack on his character and freedom. Supporters gathered outside Kensington Palace with signs reading "Free Harry" and "Truth for Diana." In the United States, where Harry had relocated in recent years, political figures called for international oversight of the case, questioning Britain's judicial process and the secrecy surrounding the trial. Prominent legal experts expressed grave concerns about the conviction. A secret trial, with evidence never subjected to public scrutiny, resulting in a verdict that defies logical timeline analysis. These are hallmarks of a judicial travesty, not justice, remarked one Harvard law professor. The confession that changed everything. Just as public opinion was coalescing around the belief that Harry had been framed, the case took another stunning turn. 1 week after the verdict was announced, Harry requested a television interview from his holding cell at an undisclosed maximum security facility. In a broadcast that would become the most watched television event in history, Harry appeared on screen looking haggard but composed. What followed was a 40-minute monologue that left viewers worldwide speechless. "The truth about my mother's death has been hidden for too long," he began. "While I maintain my innocence regarding the specific charges, there are aspects of that night that the world deserves to know." He then proceeded to outline a narrative so complex and disturbing that it challenged everything the public thought they knew about the royal family. He claimed that while he had not orchestrated his mother's death, he had discovered evidence years later suggesting involvement by other members of the royal family and British intelligence. According to Harry, his recent estrangement from royal duties and move to America had been motivated not by personal preference, but by his discovery of this evidence. "I couldn't continue to represent an institution that I believed was complicit in my mother's death," he stated. Most shocking was his assertion that he had been willing to accept conviction to protect his children. "There are forces at work that have made it clear to me that my children would be in danger if I revealed what I know," he said, his voice breaking. "This conviction, while based on fabricated evidence, serves their purpose of discrediting me while allowing me to protect those I love by maintaining certain secrets." He concluded with words that sent chills through viewers. "I say goodbye to freedom, knowing that someday the full truth will emerge. Until then, I accept this sentence as the price for my children's safety." The aftermath and unanswered questions. In the days following Harry's televised statement, the case became even more convoluted. Legal experts questioned how a defendant who maintained his innocence could be convicted in a fair trial. Intelligence analysts debated whether Harry's claims about threats to his children were credible or a desperate attempt to rationalize a legitimate conviction. The royal family remained silent, neither confirming nor denying Harry's implications of their involvement in Diana's death. This silence only fueled further speculation, with public opinion increasingly turning against the monarchy as questions mounted. Parliament convened an emergency session to discuss the constitutional implications of a convicted murderer in the line of succession, though far down the list. Legal scholars debated whether the conviction could be challenged in international courts, given the extraordinary nature of the secret trial. Meanwhile, Harry was transferred to an undisclosed prison facility, reportedly under constant surveillance to prevent any possibility of self-harm. Visitors were strictly prohibited, with even his legal team having limited access. The evidence disappears. 3 months after Harry's conviction, another shocking development occurred. The Ministry of Justice announced that the evidence used to convict Harry had been stolen during a sophisticated breach of government security systems. All digital records, including the enhanced security footage from the Ritz Hotel and the financial transaction records, had been completely wiped from government servers. The physical evidence, including original documents provided by the MI6 whistleblower, had disappeared from a supposedly impenetrable evidence vault. With the evidence gone, legal experts suggested that Harry's conviction should be overturned, or at least reconsidered. However, the Lord Chief Justice issued a statement indicating that the verdict would stand, as the evidence had been duly considered by the court before its disappearance. This extraordinary series of events only deepened public skepticism about the case. If the evidence was compelling enough to convict a royal prince of matricide, how could it have been so poorly protected? Was the theft a convenient way to prevent further scrutiny of potentially fabricated evidence? A nation divided, a family destroyed. As months passed, Britain found itself deeply divided. Polls showed that approximately half the population believed Harry was innocent and had been framed, while others accepted his guilt but questioned the circumstances surrounding his confession. A smaller percentage believed in his complete guilt and felt justice had been served for Diana. The monarchy's popularity plummeted to historic lows. King Charles, already advanced in age, appeared increasingly frail in his rare public appearances. There were whispers in political circles about the viability of the monarchy itself, with Republican sentiment growing stronger than at any time in modern British history. Prince William, now effectively the face of the monarchy's future, found himself in an impossible position, unable to defend his brother without potentially implicating his family in Diana's death, yet viewed with suspicion by a public that wondered about his own knowledge of the truth. Meghan and the children remained in the United States under tight security. Sources reported that all communication with Harry was monitored, with their children unable to have private conversations with their father. The documentary that shook the world. 1 year after Harry's conviction, a documentary was released simultaneously in multiple countries to avoid British legal injunctions. Titled The Prince's Tragedy, it featured interviews with former royal security personnel, intelligence officers, and forensic experts who systematically dismantled the timeline of the prosecution's case. Most compelling was testimony from Harry's former protection officers, who provided irrefutable evidence that he had been continuously under their supervision at Balmoral during the critical periods when he was allegedly in Paris. They risked prosecution themselves by revealing classified duty logs and security protocols that had previously been withheld from the defense. The documentary also introduced a facial recognition expert who demonstrated that the technology used to identify Harry in the Paris footage had been manipulated. Using the original algorithm rather than the modified version presented in court, the expert showed that the individual in the footage bore only a 23% similarity to Harry, far below the threshold for identification. Perhaps most damning was an interview with a former MI6 operations director who suggested that the entire case against Harry had been manufactured to prevent him from revealing what he had discovered about Diana's death. When a prince threatens to expose state secrets, conventional methods of silencing him are impossible, the intelligence veteran noted. Character assassination and false imprisonment become the only options. The final goodbye. 2 years into Harry's sentence, as legal challenges to his conviction gained momentum and public pressure for a retrial mounted, another shocking announcement came from the prison authorities. Prince Harry had been found dead in his cell, apparently by suicide. According to the brief official statement, he had left a note reading simply, "The truth dies with me. Keep them safe." No autopsy results were released, and his body was quickly cremated before independent examination could be arranged. Meghan released a statement questioning the suicide ruling and demanding an international investigation. But her voice was largely drowned out by the wave of memorials and retrospectives that followed Harry's death. The narrative quickly shifted from questions about his conviction to reflections on his troubled life. In a final twist that seemed to confirm the darkest suspicions, all pending legal challenges to Harry's conviction were administratively closed within days of his death. The judge who had been reviewing the appeal request recused himself without explanation and subsequently left the country. The legacy of doubt. Today, years after these extraordinary events, the truth about Princess Diana's death and her son's conviction remains obscured. The official record states that Harry was guilty of conspiring in his mother's murder and later took his own life in prison. But millions around the world remain convinced that this narrative conceals a far more disturbing reality. Annual vigils are held outside Buckingham Palace on the anniversary of both Diana's and Harry's deaths. Conspiracy theories continue to flourish, books and documentaries regularly revisit the case, and justice for Harry remains a rallying cry for those who believe in his innocence. The monarchy has never fully recovered from the scandal. While it continues to function, its mystique and public support have been permanently damaged. King Charles passed away not long after his son, with many attributing his decline to the stress of these events. William now reigns as a king forever shadowed by questions about his brother's fate and his own knowledge of the truth. Meghan and the children remain in America, where they live under assumed names, rarely seen in public. On the anniversary of Harry's death each year, an anonymous donor places lilies, Diana's favorite flower, on a bench in a London park with a card that reads simply, "The truth never dies. Only goodbye for now, not forever." For a public that once mourned a princess, then watched her sons grow up under the weight of that tragedy, the story's final chapter seems cruelly fitting. More questions than answers, more shadows than light, and a family destroyed by secrets that may never be fully revealed.
Tensions in the royal family are at an all-time high as rumors swirl that Queen Camilla has been left feeling humiliated by King Charles and Prince William. Behind the palace walls, a power struggle may be brewing, with reports suggesting that Charles and William have sidelined Camilla in key decisions. Sources claim that their actions have pushed Camilla to her breaking point, leaving her furious and lashing out in frustration. What led to this royal rift, and how will it impact the fragile balance within the monarchy? Let's explore the shocking developments that have the palace in turmoil.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
The relationship between Queen Camilla, Prince William, and King Charles is complex, shaped by years of personal history, public scrutiny, and their evolving roles within the British monarchy. While they are bound together by family and duty, the dynamics among them are layered, with moments of cooperation, tension, and diplomacy influencing how they treat each other. At the center of this triangle is King Charles, whose relationship with both his wife, Camilla, and his eldest son, William, has been central to shaping the royal family's image.
Good evening, Your Majesties. Good evening, Windsor.
Charles and Camilla's relationship is perhaps the most straightforward of the three. After decades of public criticism and controversy, they have settled into a strong and supportive partnership, solidified by years of loyalty and shared experiences. For Charles, Camilla is not only his wife, but also his trusted confidant, someone who has stood by him through some of the most challenging moments of his life. Their bond is one of mutual respect, and Charles leans on Camilla for both personal support and in his duties as monarch. Camilla has long been a stabilizing presence for Charles. She understands his temperament, his pressures, and the unique challenges of being in the royal spotlight. As Queen Consort, she supports him during public engagements, accompanies him on state visits, and plays a significant role in their charitable and diplomatic work. Her position beside him has helped modernize the monarchy's image to some extent, and she has taken on her responsibilities with quiet dedication. Charles appreciates her calm, unflappable demeanor and her ability to handle the constant scrutiny that comes with being a senior royal. For Charles, Camilla is a partner in both life and leadership, and their relationship is marked by a deep personal connection. However, the relationship between Camilla and Prince William is far more complicated. William's perspective on Camilla has been shaped by the painful history surrounding his parents' marriage. Charles and Diana's highly publicized separation, followed by Diana's tragic death, cast a long shadow over William's view of Camilla. For much of his life, Camilla represented a difficult chapter in his family's story, and the circumstances of her relationship with Charles were a source of tension. In the early years following Charles and Camilla's marriage, William reportedly kept a respectful but distant relationship with his stepmother. He recognized the importance of her role in his father's life, but his loyalty to his mother, Princess Diana, remained unwavering. William had immense love for Diana, and her memory continues to shape many aspects of his life. As a result, while he accepted Camilla as part of his father's life, he never fully embraced her as a maternal figure. Unlike his younger brother Harry, who seemed more willing to connect with Camilla on a personal level, William's interactions with her were often formal and polite, but lacking deep warmth. Over time, William and Camilla have developed a working relationship built on mutual respect for each other's roles within the monarchy. As the future king, William understands the importance of maintaining harmony within the family, especially in the public eye. Both he and Camilla have shown a willingness to put personal feelings aside, to present a united front in support of King Charles. They are often seen together at public events, and while there may be no overt displays of affection, their interactions are cordial and professional. Camilla, for her part, has been careful not to overstep boundaries with William, knowing that her position in his life is a sensitive one. Despite this surface-level cordiality, there are persistent rumors of underlying tensions between William and Camilla. Some reports suggest that William has been uncomfortable with the level of influence Camilla holds over King Charles, particularly in terms of family decisions and the future direction of the monarchy. As someone who is deeply protective of his own family, his wife Catherine, and their 3 children, William is wary of any perceived interference. Camilla, though largely supportive of William's position as the future king, has had to navigate these complexities carefully, ensuring that her role does not encroach on William's path to the throne. William, for his part, has matured into his role as a leader within the royal family. He has shown a willingness to work alongside both his father and stepmother for the sake of the institution. His loyalty to the monarchy and his sense of duty mean that he is able to put personal feelings aside in favor of the greater good. While his relationship with Camilla may never be particularly warm, he has accepted her place within the family and has found a way to coexist with her. In public, the trio presents a united front, attending events together and supporting each other's roles within the monarchy. Camilla is often seen beside Charles at key engagements, with William nearby, representing the continuity and stability of the royal family. While their personal relationships may be complicated by history and emotion, they have all shown a willingness to prioritize their duties and responsibilities over personal grievances. In conclusion, the relationship between Queen Camilla, Prince William, and King Charles is one marked by a delicate balance of personal history and public duty. Camilla and William's relationship remains formal and respectful, but not particularly close, while Charles finds himself navigating the complexities of these 2 important figures in his life. Despite the underlying tensions, they are all united by a shared commitment to the monarchy and its future. Each plays their role in maintaining the stability of the institution, ensuring that the monarchy continues to function smoothly, even if their personal relationships remain complicated. Queen Camilla's life in the royal family has always been filled with its fair share of drama, but recent reports suggest tensions have reached new heights. According to insiders, a major fallout between Queen Camilla and Prince William has sparked an intense royal standoff. The once cordial relationship seems to have taken a turn for the worse, with rumors circulating that Prince William has outright rejected one of Camilla's latest proposals. In response, Camilla reportedly didn't take the news lightly, leading to what's being described as an explosive outburst behind palace walls. What could have caused this rift, and how will it impact the royal family moving forward? Let's dive into the details of this brewing conflict.
Good evening, Your Majesties. Good evening, Windsor.
The relationship between Queen Camilla and Prince William is one of the more intriguing dynamics within the British royal family. While they have both played prominent roles in the monarchy, their connection has been shaped by a mixture of personal history, public perception, and their individual roles within the institution. Their bond is not one of close familial warmth, but rather one marked by mutual respect, duty, and at times, underlying tension. When Camilla first entered the royal fold in an official capacity, her relationship with Prince William was complicated by her past with King Charles. Camilla and Charles's relationship had long been the subject of public scrutiny, particularly due to the fact that it overlapped with his marriage to Princess Diana, William's mother. For William, The public and private pain caused by his parents' tumultuous marriage loomed large. Camilla's presence as Charles's partner was not something he immediately accepted.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
And it took time for him to come to terms with her role in his father's life. Early on, reports suggested that William and Camilla kept a polite distance. William, protective of his mother's legacy, was understandably wary of Camilla, whose affair with Charles had contributed to the breakdown of his parents' marriage. For William, this was not just a matter of public perception, but also a deeply personal issue. His relationship with his father had already been strained by the revelations about Charles and Camilla's relationship, and adding her into the family officially was not an easy transition. However, as time passed, both William and Camilla seemed to adopt a pragmatic approach to their relationship. William was, after all, committed to the future of the monarchy, and Camilla was now a central part of that institution. Publicly, they have maintained a relationship based on respect and duty. William has accepted Camilla as his father's wife, and they have been seen together at numerous royal events, often interacting in a cordial and professional manner. There is no indication of overt hostility in public, but the warmth that characterizes William's relationship with other family members, like his brother or wife, is notably absent in his interactions with Camilla. Camilla, on her part, has been careful to navigate her relationship with William with sensitivity. She understands the complexity of the situation and has not tried to overstep her boundaries as a stepmother figure. While she is technically his stepmother, she has never attempted to take on that role in an overtly maternal way. Instead, she has maintained a more hands-off approach, understanding that William's loyalty to his mother is strong, and that trying to replace or even compete with Diana's memory would be neither appropriate nor successful. There are reports that Camilla has worked behind the scenes to foster a respectful relationship with William, even if it is not particularly close. She has reportedly been careful to show deference to William's role as the future king, recognizing that his position in the royal hierarchy will one day surpass her own. Her approach has been one of quiet support, without trying to assert undue influence over him. This has allowed them to maintain a functional relationship, even if it lacks the affection that is often seen in other familial bonds within the royal family. While the public rarely sees the full scope of their interactions, it is clear that their relationship is rooted in duty rather than personal closeness. They have both demonstrated a willingness to put the needs of the monarchy first, even if their personal relationship is not particularly strong. William is dedicated to his role as the future king, and part of that responsibility is managing his relationships with other senior members of the family, including Camilla. He understands the importance of presenting a united front for the sake of the monarchy's stability, and Camilla, in turn, recognizes that William's position is one of utmost importance. However, behind the scenes, there have been rumors of occasional friction between the two. Some reports suggest that William has, at times, been uncomfortable with Camilla's influence over King Charles, particularly when it comes to certain family matters. William is deeply protective of his family, especially his wife, Catherine, and their children. Any perceived slight or interference from Camilla in this area is something that William reportedly does not tolerate. While these instances of tension are rarely made public, they hint at the more complicated dynamics at play behind the royal facade. Another area where their relationship may face strain is in how the public perceives Camilla's role in the monarchy. William, as the future king, is acutely aware of public opinion, and he understands the need for the monarchy to maintain its relevance and appeal to the people. Camilla's past, particularly her role in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, has meant that she has faced an uphill battle in terms of public acceptance. While she has managed to carve out a role for herself through her charitable work and her support of Charles, there remains a segment of the public that has not fully embraced her as a member of the royal family. William, on the other hand, enjoys widespread popularity, and his wife, Catherine, is highly regarded as a future queen. The contrast between Camilla and Catherine is often noted by royal observers, with Catherine seen as a modern, relatable figure, while Camilla is viewed through the lens of past scandals. This difference in public perception may influence how William views Camilla's role within the family, particularly as he prepares for his own future reign. While he remains respectful and dutiful in his interactions with her, there is an understanding that Camilla's legacy will always be somewhat complicated. Despite these complexities, both William and Camilla appear committed to maintaining a functional relationship for the sake of the monarchy. William is deeply loyal to his father, and while his relationship with Charles has had its ups and downs, he has a strong sense of duty to the family and the institution. Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, has long been seen as the epitome of grace, poise, and royal duty. As a key figure in the British royal family, she has always maintained a composed and polished public image, rarely revealing much about her personal life. However, a recent statement from Kate has left many stunned and concerned. In a candid moment, she admitted, "Most people have no idea what is happening to me," sparking widespread speculation about the challenges she may be facing behind closed doors. This revelation has left royal watchers and fans alike wondering what struggles Kate may be enduring beneath her calm exterior.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous.
Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, has become one of the most beloved and admired members of the British royal family since her marriage to Prince William in 2011. Known for her elegance, grace, and commitment to royal duties, she has built a reputation as a steady and reliable figure in the monarchy. However, behind her composed public image, Kate has faced her own share of real-life challenges, both in her personal life and within the royal family.
My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Recently, Kate's statement, "Most people have no idea what is happening to me," has drawn significant attention, leading to increased scrutiny of the pressures and difficulties she may be quietly enduring. While the comment remains vague, it highlights the fact that being in the public eye comes with a set of personal struggles that are often hidden from view. From the moment Kate Middleton began her relationship with Prince William, she was thrust into the global spotlight. Their courtship was closely watched by the media, and when they finally announced their engagement in 2010, the world celebrated. Their wedding in 2011 was a grand affair, watched by millions around the globe, cementing Kate's place as a future queen consort. But with the glamour and admiration came enormous pressure, as Kate had to quickly adapt to life as a royal with all the scrutiny, expectations, and responsibilities that accompany it. One of the first significant challenges Kate faced after becoming a member of the royal family was the constant media attention. As a high-profile figure, her every move, outfit, and decision has been analyzed and critiqued by the press and public. While Kate has always maintained a calm demeanor in public, the relentless attention can be overwhelming. The British tabloids, in particular, have been known for their ruthless treatment of public figures, and Kate has not been immune to this. There have been numerous instances where the media has sensationalized stories about her personal life, adding pressure to an already intense existence.